So I just received a thank you note from a financial analyst for a role in Germany, and right about the same time I received a request through YouTube that why am I not making more videos on business analyst or senior business analyst roles. And since I have plenty of experience both from coaching and from other businesses dealing with analysts, I thought yes, it could be quite an interesting idea. So I'm going to give you a couple of tips and tricks, as well as 10 questions that I believe make the most sense for these types of roles. And I believe the number one tip I can give to anyone applying for an analyst role is that confidence sells. So yes, it does make sense, and it's perfectly fine if you are not enough confident going in the job interview. And it makes very much sense to prepare on confidence, on your confidence levels, right? So this is very, very important to understand. Number two, there's something you might underestimate, that is the difficulty, the challenge in explaining a concept that could be a financial one or one involving heavy mathematics to a non-technical person. So you might think, hey, yes, this should be straightforward to understand, but in fact, it's very hard to understand. And for this, I'd very much encourage you to do some role play with someone who's not an analyst and try to explain to them, hey, this is what I'm trying to explain here, and see if they understand. Because I remember from coaching, I had, someone trying to explain something for over half an hour, right? It was still really challenging for me to understand. And it was, a combination, both I was not from the field, but also they were not really good at explaining things so anyone could understand them. So be very careful about ensuring that you are clear. You bring clarity into the conversation. Now, to the questions, to the 10 questions I believe the most relevant here. The first one was actually shared also from that candidate earlier today, is the most classic of them all. Tell me about a time when you took a risk in a project or a situation. So most of you applying for analyst roles would be risk averse, and actually the candidate was too, and I am risk averse by person, and I got a bit confused there, but I could keep up the energy level and the positivity all the way through answering the related questions to that topic. I think that was key moment, and I've realized that the interviewers also don't always have the perfect formula for an answer. They are rather testing the applicants of their skill set, if they can keep up answering challenging questions in a customer-focused way. If the applicants can keep up staying positive, showing energies that they want the role, they can be a game changer. Confidence sells in these jobs interviews. Number two, tell me about the time when you use data to develop a strategy. So this is again a very classic type of question. By the way, I'm well aware, that there's a huge difference between a financial analyst and a business analyst, even data analyst as well. So, but still, I found this advice to make sense in all of these scenarios. So time and use data to develop a strategy, I think this is pretty classic. This should be in your field. I think it's up to you basically to brainstorm for the best possible example. Number three, a time when you failed. I remember clearly that analysts struggle, and especially the scenarios like this. You've been working in pretty boring jobs so far that include a lot of mathematics and very little presentations. So since your communication skills are not very developed, you don't feel very comfortable talking about failure. So that's why I believe preparing a time when you failed is actually a great exercise. And it might take a couple of failures to find the right one, even 3 failures, if I may advise you. So definitely prepare this one as well, and refer to other videos if you want to learn more about how do you go about answering these. Number 4, when you have to convince someone of something, right? So you might say, hey, but how is this linked with any analyst role? Well, it is because it's about interpersonal skills, and interpersonal skills get tested in pretty much any interview. But interpersonal skills, if you don't have them, that will be noticed during the interview. So that's why you really want to ensure that you prepare on interpersonal skills. Number 5, when you have to deal with an ambiguous situation. Ambiguity. This is right a lot in terms of principles. So it could be a multi-year project that has a lot of ambiguous situation which you navigated successfully. That would be the best possible example, but that's for more senior roles. But still, you can think about ambiguity. How do you resolve? How do you navigate ambiguity? Number 6, what's your greatest success story? So if you'd ask this sales candidate, this would be music to their ears, but since you're not supposed to be good at speaking, yes, I believe it's a good idea to also prepare what's your greatest success to advertise yourself. How you advertise yourself, that's very much up to you, and I have other resources if you want to refer to them, but I believe it's a good one. A time when you had handled conflict on your team. So conflict in a team, again, it's about interpersonal skills, but I believe that the biggest challenge here is to think of a genuine time when you had such events in your team. Most of you will have to take a little bit of time to think about what's the best way to answer this one. Number 8, describe a situation where you disagreed with your manager. So again, interpersonal skills, and disagreeing with your manager, unless you're applying for a very senior role and you might want to take a lot of risk, I'd very much go with an example where my manager was right on that specific situation. But if you want to show more backbone and you feel like you can take more risk in a job interview, sure, why not? You could show them that they were wrong too. Last two questions. Tell me about yourself and why Amazon. These are pretty standard questions that I covered in many other videos, so I believe you have enough pointers here. So all in all, I think, yes, it does make quite a lot of sense for you to prepare for the behavioral part of an Amazon interview. I think it's a significant driver of success for these types of interviews. This would be my tips. This was my experience. Hopefully you found this useful, and thank you very much for watching.